Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to another recording / live stream of Hearthstone. So Walter is on the chat and he wants me to do an arena run. Now my rules for arena runs were I was going to hope to get above 10,000 before I start spending them, but I feel like I have enough. I'm way over the 5,000 to buy 50 packs, and frankly, learning that Crippen, who is a famous Hearthstone player, Cripperian, I don't know how to pronounce his name, spends like $1,500 worth of packs each expansion. He has a lot of fans who make that affordable for him. And he still doesn't get everything in gold, which is his goal. I'm willing to go and spend 150. Now, I probably am only going to do arena once a week, and I also need to do the tavern ball, but we've always pre-purchased this, so I do need to get Druid victories.
You're right to awaken me.
So we'll start here and do Druid. Now the pressure is on if I'm going to do an arena run too. No goofing around. I really want to succeed. So this one's probably not that good. This one, maybe. We'll have to take it because I just don't know if I'm going to make an elemental deck. You kind of have to jump in blind. And you're going to start seeing my terrible choices here. Do I want a poisonous beast or swap the attack and health of a minion? I'm gonna take this and adapt my minions. Can only attack if heroes attacked. Restore 8 health to the enemy hero. I'll take this. During your turn, your hero is immune. Battlecry freeze a minion. Taunt. I'm gonna just take a basic taunt. This guy can't attack. This guy discovers things. Deal 1 damage and do all that. I'll take this one. Let's see, this guy can't attack. I think I like this card, so I'll take that. Deal 2 damage to a random enemy minion. I think I'll take that. We'll definitely take that, although the 10-10-10 was interesting too. The Power of the Wild used to be a good card. Is it a good card now? I want to do random damage. Let's take this. I like options. Druid is built around options. 2 damage to all other minions. We'll take that for a powerhouse card. Add a random minion with 5 or more attack to your hand. Or do this. I think I'll take that. Give your characters +2 attack this turn. I'll take this. There is a slight problem with playing arena that you are spending a lot of time playing cards and picking cards, and then I have to stay in the arena for a while. Destroy all enemy secrets. Gain +1/+1. Played an elemental this turn. Gain taunt and divine shield. I think I have enough elementals for this to be worth it. Swap the attack and health of a minion. Player battlecry. I think I'll take this again, but this is an interesting idea because I have something, don't I, that has a really low attack but a really high health. So if I swapped it for 3 and then another 2, this would be a 5-1, which probably isn't worth that much. At the start of your turn, reduce this cost by 1. I'll take that. Trying to, I guess, to go with taunt, but I'll take this instead. After you summon the minion, give it +1/+1. I'll take that. This Angam Rager looks kind of like the Sludge characters. What is it? Tar Creeper? See, it kind of looks the same. 1 health to your hero or spell damage. I'll do 1 health to my hero. After this minion attacks a hero, adapt. Go for I'll take that one again. And then we'll do that. And we'll take this. And the way this works, I think, is on the 30th, you have a chance for a really powerful one. I think that's how that works. I'll take the owl so we have a silence. I'll take a slightly lower card, and then I'll take, let's see, 1 more of these, so we have 3 of those now. Give your hero +3 attack or 8 armor, or play this. I think I will take this instead. Battlecry, adapt. Give your friendly beast this. Or transform. We'll take that one. And we'll take this one. Going heavy on the taunts. And we'll take another one of those. So that's all the setup. Now our goal, after that significant amount of time to build the arena deck, is to not just lose immediately. We want to ideally get 12 wins and get the maximum key. Realistically, I would like to get 3 wins. To make my money back, or at least be guaranteed to make the money back. Or it's somewhere between like 3 and I think 5 or 6 wins guarantees that you will get 150 gold back, so you get free entry for your next arena run. Let's start going down the news, since I didn't really cover any of it, and I have a pretty pretty full board here, whiteboard of news. Sony has claimed that the PS4 is selling 2-to-1 in North America and 3-to-1 in Europe for unit sales versus the Xbox One, and 1 in 5 of every PS4 that's being sold is a Pro unit, which I suppose is a slight admission that they're being a little bit disingenuous in their numbers, because if it's 2-to-1 and in North America and 1 in 5 is a Pro unit, well then you need to take that 1 in 5 out, because the PS4 and the PS4 Pro are completely different units. But even all that being said, these numbers, if true, do show that the PS4 is doing better than everything else. Walter says, "Go Rydo, you can win 12 arena games." I hope. That would be nice. It would be the first time in my life ever doing it. And it would certainly smack in the face of what my win ratio is compared to all the other decks I build. But who knows? It's possible.
Must consider.
Yeah, right now the PS4 seems like it's doing better, but also it's worth pointing out that in just a few days at E3 we expect the Scorpio to be announced, and then Xbox One will have the ball in its court. So if the Scorpion, Xbox Scorpio, not Scorpion, turns out to be an amazing update and a system seller, then it won't be very surprising. Let's go ahead and do this, and then do this. Oh, that was a waste. That was a waste of mana. Played poorly there. So yeah, whatever Sony says this week is really just to try and kill the enthusiasm for whatever happens next week with the Scorpio. Which, I guess that's also an admission that Sony doesn't have anything to really announce hardware-wise at E3, which is not surprising, and there's actually not much they can say. They did, however, come back and say that they are very unlikely to make a Vita successor, which is not really surprising considering the Vita just didn't grab enough popularity in the Western world. And it's kind of a shame, because I think if you were to really put things down of the console things, and the Vita is probably the best gaming portable console out there, and I don't think has been surpassed by cell phones, because cell phones don't have the right buttons and control sticks and all of that. I don't think the Switch technically counts as a portable console, and even if it did, I still think the Vita probably has more buttons and a better interface and a better form factor. That's specifically why I would like to put like an Arduino or mod a Vita to run just PC programs on it. But that is also part of the problem, is that the only reason I personally want a Vita is because I would want to do a building electronics project with it, not to actually buy Vita games and play it, because the only thing really on Vita are a bunch of visual novels and other styles of games that are only really popular in Japan. Speaking of not being popular in the Vita, there's of course also the 3DS and all of that, but the 3DS is not really that good of hardware. It's cheap hardware. Moving on though, speaking of not being popular, For Honor is now down to 95% of it. No, let me rephrase that. For Honor has lost 95% of its player base according to Steam stats. So only 5% of the number of players that played on during the launch are still playing that game, and that's not really surprising. There's really nothing interesting in that game. We wouldn't have even talked about For Honor as much as I have if it weren't for the fact that they put out a massive advertising campaign and paid a lot of people, not me, but a lot of other video game websites and blogs to talk about it. Let's see, what do we need? We'll go with Divine Shield, and then this. We'll go and kill this. So yeah, it's kind of a shame because I still think there may have been something in that sword fighting engine at some point in development for For Honor, but I don't think they were ever going to make it into a majorly popular game. It should have been a super niche game. There's always that chance that something like Minecraft, which on the face of it looks kind of like a niche game, might get really popular. But you shouldn't have, they certainly shouldn't have assumed that it was going to be popular, and they certainly shouldn't have crammed it full of ridiculous amounts of microtransactions. Let's see. This, and then this, and what do we want to kill? That. And then the turn. Speaking of cramming things full of microtransactions, on the face of it, this announcement sounds good, but it took me a little bit of time, a little bit more reading to realize what they're actually doing. Blizzard has decided to sell Overwatch credits in China instead of loot boxes. So that one sentence sounds good, except for the fact that really all they're doing is they're spitting in the face of this new Chinese law that actually I had hoped would have improved the entire gaming industry for their gambling tendencies with loot boxes. And what they're doing instead is making it so that you buy the credits and get a free loot box as a gift. So it's just a blatant manipulation and attempt to sidestep the law that probably won't last that long. But it also goes to show that Blizzard's just greedy. It is downright greed. They know that they're making a ton of money on loot boxes. They know that they're encouraging gambling, and instead of following the law, like, I'm not one that usually applauds Chinese draconian control of the game industry, but in this case, that they're actually doing something good, I think, for their people, and the whole world. Now, possibly this law might be skewed against non-Chinese companies, and maybe Chinese companies are allowed to just cheat the whole system, but I can't. That's really just speculation. And right now, for a fact, I know Blizzard's trying to cheat the system, and Blizzard Activision is a huge video game company with a huge amount of money, and this is not right. Let's see, got another chat message. Loki's on. Hey Rydo. Hey Loki, we're doing an arena run because Walter wanted to see me do one, and the new update is online, so as soon as I'm done with the arena run, I can play you to your heart's content if you want to, and we can do all the daily quests. I will, of course, need some assistance in actually winning sometimes, but we could certainly go tit for tat. You win one and then I win one. If you have some daily quests you need to do. So there's my first defeat on Arena Run, 0-1. I have 2 more strikes and then I'm out. Battleborn has gone free to play effectively. It has this free trial version that they've announced that has a rotating 6-player heroes to play as, but so 6 of however many heroes are in Battleborn, which must be more than 6, will rotate in and out, and you can play as them. And if you want to keep any of those heroes, you'll earn in-game currency that will allow you to unlock it. So if you just continuously play Battleborn, eventually, however long it actually takes during the credits, I don't know, but eventually you would unlock everything in the game. There are no level caps in the free trial version. There's nothing really limiting you. If you bought Battleborn before, you now have founder status, and they unlocked a bunch of in-game things. So I imagine if you just played the free trial version, it would take you maybe a couple of years to actually unlock all of the aesthetic things, different like skins and such. So that might be. Loki says, "Yay, we can play all the way. Send me a challenge." As soon as I'm done with the arena run, like I said, we'll do that. So, does this save Battleborn as a game? Not really. Battleborn is sadly just ruined by Overwatch, which is kind of funny because there's another game that's gonna get ruined as soon as it gets out. Let me see if I can find it on the list. I was watching it, but can I find it? Here it is. It's called Raiders of the Broken Planet. It's a 4 versus 1 shooter. It's from Mercury Steam, makers of Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
When Earth moves, empires fall.
And
don't mess with me.
Kill this guy. Two of these now. So yeah, the Raiders of a Broken Planet game, it's like the Friday the 13th game. It's just one of those asynchronous games. Mercury Steam seems to be based out of Mexico because most of the people that were talking about the game were speaking in Spanish, which is certainly interesting, because I didn't know that there were that many Mexican, let's see, +1+1? Sure. I didn't know that there were any Mexican video game studios. But yeah, that'll be interesting. What was I talking about that got me to that game? As I'm trying to transition here. Yeah, Battleborn. I was talking about Battleborn. Battleborn's not an asynchronous game. It's just a hero shooter like Overwatch. The only thing that would have saved that is, well, frankly, I'm not sure anything would have saved it, but I would have recommended that they go free to play as soon as it looked like Overwatch was going to succeed, and that was about a week after Battleborn came out. So I would have said give it about a week and then just say, okay, it's going free to play. We'll refund everybody's money who purchased it, or we'll shift everything back. You could have, because Battleborn was on Steam, and I think the free refund system was there. You could have obfuscated that a lot and saying, we're going to free to play. If anybody is upset about that, they can get a Steam refund. And then they could have just casually ignored that the Steam refunds only is available for people who have played less than 2 hours. And you could have tried to make Steam handle all of your work. At the end of your turn, summon a 1/1 Murloc. This will be interesting.
By the holy light.
Or you could have just done what you did here and give everybody Founders status, and I'm sure people would have been upset about that. Chris Taylor is making a new real-time strategy, which is interesting because I, in the article, had to look up who Chris Taylor is, and apparently he's not a very successful person because he was the maker of Age of Empires Online, which failed, a Wild Man Kickstarter, which failed, and the person probably in charge of Gas Powered Games, which failed. So he has had a really bad run lately, which of course that's really mean to just point out some of his failures directly, but what can I say? It's the truth.
For the wilds.
So maybe he can make a real-time strategy that succeeds, but it almost feels like this is not new. With so many unsuccessful ventures behind your belt, you're back down to the point of just being a unknown person who's starting up a Kickstarter or something like that. It's below anything important. Here we go.
For the wild. By the holy light.
A veteran writer from Borderlands named Mikey Newmore or Newman, I think it was Newman, I wrote it down, has left Gearbox. Now he's leaving, or at least he's claiming he's leaving because of his multiple sclerosis and his health. I don't think that means much of anything really as far as whether you should be concerned about Borderlands 3 or Gearbox. I think, in all honesty, the writing in Borderlands isn't the biggest focus anyways, so
Job done.
So yeah, I don't think you should be really concerned. And besides, having deteriorating multiple sclerosis sounds like a very legitimate condition, a reason to leave a job. And he kind of points out why they couldn't be more accommodating, but you just don't know. For all I know, Gearbox has been amazingly accommodating to him, but it's just gotten so bad. Now, on the other hand, the fourth Valve writer, Jay Pinkerton, has left Valve. And the only thing I can assume at this point is
Reporting for duty.
it's been made obviously clear that they're not going to need any writers to make any games anytime soon. And I suspect the Valve writers are doing like customer service or something right now, and they may have been for quite a long time,
For the wild.
just doing customer service. Because that's kind of how it seems like it works. It kind of works that way in Google too, is that overqualified people keep doing getting put into underqualified things. Now I accidentally erased something here, so I'm just going to say that from memory, the Breaking Bad is getting a VR sequel starring Vince Gilligan. If you're a fan of Breaking Bad, I'm sure you know that. Personally, haven't watched it, and so that's good. I still have a ton of news to talk about, and we've gone another 30 minutes. Do I want to go another game? I guess we'll go one more game and just try to get some of this news done. Try to push. I'm starting to try to push the Hearthstone videos and recordings longer, a little bit. The Oculus Rift founder Palmer Luckey has set aside on border surveillance technology in a new startup, which is great news for the video game industry, because that means this is the probably last time I ever have to talk about Palmer Luckey. Palmer Luckey, if you've been lucky enough to not catch any of the saga of dealing with him, has been very controversial, come up in a lot of news stories in a negative light, caused Oculus and Facebook, who bought Oculus, to have lawsuits and then a bunch of mess. So no more Palmer Luckey. May he never come back to the video game industry. I don't think very many people would be wise to hire him for much of anything. Does this immediately mean that the Oculus Rift is now set for smooth sailing and it's going to be super successful? No, not really, but at the very least, one major speed bump from my opinion is out of the way. An interesting article came out where HDR, high dynamic range monitors right now look worse than standard. It's oddly much darker. Mass Effect Andromeda had a specific setup and color profile programmed for HDR, and the two monitors side by side, same monitors, the standard range looks so much more brighter and so much more detailed, and it handles shadows a lot better, and the HDR just doesn't do that, and that's ridiculous considering that's exactly what HDR is supposed to do. It's supposed to make things look brighter and more detailed, and it just isn't happening right now. And the fact that you need a color profile to be hand programmed by the
Don't mess with me!
hit this one. The fact that you need a hand programmed HDR profile for every single game means there's not a standard there. And it seems really ridiculous that there wouldn't be a standard, because in thought you would either be able to say a color is 0 to 255 or 0 to 16 million or whatever 0 to the maximum of a 32-bit color would be. And if HDR has a color range beyond 32-bit colors, then you could just apply a spread on it in some ways. You could make 0, which would be black, be even blacker, 255, which would probably be white, to be even whiter, and 128, which would probably be green, to be even greener. And that might cause some colors that were green before to shift into not being green, but yeah, maybe it's a little bit more complicated than I'm thinking, come to think of it, because you wouldn't want to move the color around that much and have something that was supposed to be a deep red become a light red, or something that was supposed to be a light red become a deep red. But there's got to be a way to do it, and I think the TVs, just by default, if you have an HDR mode on your TV, probably has something that they can already set up and do. Let's see. Stealth, taunt.
Job's done.
In the turn. Now, even more interesting in the NVIDIA setup is when the monitors were shipped to this people to test the HDR, they had specifically gone into the standard monitor and messed with the brightness, the contrast, and the gamma to make it look way worse. So it seems, unless somebody was just messing with the settings and they assumed that you were going to factory reset the monitors before you did any test or calibrate it yourself, it seems like NVIDIA intentionally tried to cheat there and make HDR look better. And it seems like that kind of did trick a few people, but not everybody.
Job's done.
Apple came out and announced the iMac Pro, amongst many other things that aren't really video game related, and it cost at minimum $5,000. The iMac Pro, just quickly, it looks like it's good for a few people. People that are video programmers, people that do heavy Photoshop editing, people that are doing some other kind of 3D rendering, or honestly, I don't even think you need it for audio rendering unless maybe you're doing a very high quality audio. Let's see. This and
For the wild.
see if we can finish this guy
Job's done.
a couple times. But for actual people who want to play games, even though it has a ridiculous amount of cores, between 8 and 18 cores, there's Xenon cores, which means your games won't run quite right, almost certainly. So they're not the standard Intel i7, i9, or i5 cores that video games are programmed towards.
This isn't play.
The jungle provides. Job's done.
And then it has Vega graphics, AMD Vega graphics, which, again, not something video games are programmed to. So I would not be getting the iMac Pro if you wanted to play games on it. That being said, I did see an article that said it's not like the parts that they're giving you are at a major premium. It used to be that you weren't getting good parts in a lot of Apple products and they were charging you a lot, but now they're kind of giving you a good setup if that's the setup you want. Again, also it's going to be running Mac OS, so are they calling it Mac OS still, or is it now just all iOS? Well, that's 2 losses, so let's save our 3rd loss for the next recording. That's going to be it for this recording. Stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.